Paris, it's so good to see your face.
I know, right? I'm like, it's
Yes,
good to put which I always see your picture in the emails, but it's nice to actually be able to see you face to face.
I know. We do so much of this.
Yeah, literally. And this, and hold on, and get him back. Yeah. And
You're
it's
not
fine.
happy? Big surprise. Okay, let's try again.
Kristin, like she gets it from all of us, doesn't she?
Uh, I kind of
Dude,
love
poor
it. It's
Kristin. We give her, if Paris or I call her, it's gonna be a dumpster fire. And I feel terrible. I'm like, how come all of these are always dumpster fires?
That's the only
We
people
have to
buying
fix
homes
this.
right now. It's like literally, it feels like every file I work on is a dumpster fire. So it's no different than the rest of the people I'm working with.
Well, that
It's
makes me
always,
feel better.
Well, that's
it's all about the
comforting.
payment. It
My,
literally,
my text messages are, "Oh, Kristin, we're gonna go look at 32 more houses. I'll get back with you soon."
that might be the most loan summaries I've ever sent in my career.
Um, as Stephanie heard, I don't know if you know Kristen or not yet, but this is Kristen. She is the lender who will be speaking over the meeting today. She is amazing and helps with all the dumpster fires.
That's what I've heard.
She's our saving grace.
I have heard there's something not called a dumpster fire out there. I haven't seen it, but I hear
Yeah.
they exist.
I feel like we need to make a shirt with like a cute dumpster fire.
Oh, you know what? I think
And
I heard
Kristin
that.
could have wings.
And I would
She could
say,
be like,
and you say real estate 2024.
And 2023.
No, seriously, I don't feel 2023 was this bad.
I felt like it was leading to this bad. It was getting us prepared for this bad.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
assistant said, "I hate real estate." And I was like, I mean, even title companies have gotten where they don't even want to talk to you. We're not even going to talk about it. And I'm like, dude, we were closing 5 days ago. You need to talk to me.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
It's been a learning curve
It
for
has.
all of us.
Yeah.
But Tammy, you know, in real estate, girl, well, the second we get comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. We're gonna see a change, and that's why I'm excited. Paris is gonna introduce you, and y'all go over things. I'm really excited to hear what you have to tell us today because I've already seen some major changes from last week to this week. Like our phones are blowing up all of a sudden. So, yay! I'm excited.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of prepared. I promise you guys it's not going to be very long, but I did prepare like a little kind of like PowerPoint just to show you guys kind of some things. So I want to show you guys that. So I'm going to share my screen. You guys have seen that mortgage rates have gone down quite a bit. So let's just see first and foremost where we came from. So in November of last year, we were at 8%. As of September 12th, we were at 6.2%. And today, now mind you, this is Mortgage Daily Press. This is gathering all 50 states data. So this is the average in the United States. This is as of today, 6.12 conventional. Look at this for FHA and VA. I mean, I just don't think that people have any idea how powerful this is because you're now able to get more people into loans. They just don't know it yet because they're still too scared to get off the dang sidelines. So you guys saw the news last week, I'm assuming, that we just survived the worst housing market in recorded history. So that being said, with the rates going down 2%, why are the buyers just now starting to trickle in? Well, they were waiting for the rates to fall. The rates were falling. We still didn't see much activity really until this week. So why are they waiting? Worst housing market. They're scared. First of all, insurance is higher, taxes are higher, rates are higher. Even at the 5.99, 5.5, the average American is still struggling to make a payment over $2,500. It seems to be the thing that everyone says to me, $2,500. So this is the newest reason that people are saying that they're waiting. The election, 40% of people think that, and I mean, they are right. This is going to have an impact on us, which way this goes. Absolutely. And I'm not going to, I'm Switzerland right now, but it's going to impact us. So I get why they're scared. But buyers have always been scared. So this is kind of the strategy that I've been utilizing in this market to succeed. I mean, anyone who's worked with me knows that we are closer than ever because if we don't understand what these people need as far as payments, we're never going to go under contract. If we don't have their payment sensitivity, their cash to close sensitivity, This is just so much more important than it ever used to be. Well, and just like Tammy said, we were shopping for a house that was 390, 400,000 when they really are qualified for 280. So getting out of people what they don't electively tell us is more important than ever. And even this deal that I was working with Tammy, she told me a payment up front and dwindled it down constantly as I was talking to her, because her and her spouse are not on the same page. That's another thing that I'm noticing a lot right now as well. So good luck on that one. So the strategies that I'm seeing in this market. So the days of getting 6% concessions, I kind of think are gone. I'm not going to lie. I've been hearing more resistance to all of these concessions. I'm kind of seeing an okayness with about 2%. So what can 2% do for us? It's going to do one of two things, right? We're in the fives now with FHA, VA. We can get to fives pretty easily in the conventional. 2 points can pretty much get anyone to qualify if it's a rate issue. Or to be completely honest, 2 points will pay for people's closing costs as long as they have the money to close. And of course, there's down payment assistant loans, but they still have the highest rates on the market. I mean, the big one is still 7.375. So I really do try to not have to use those, because you're talking about people that don't make any money needing down payment assistance and then paying a payment that's higher than anyone else right now. So just be cautious of your clients and what they actually need. So as far as FHA, VA, USDA, all of 2 points can get you in the fours, no problem. And then or conventional, 2 points will get you into the low fives to mid fives, just depending on the day. So I am starting to see pocket areas with multiple offers, meaning that if a person needs concessions, you should know right away, because we're going to need to look at if we're going to have to bump up the price. I just now started having to bump up prices, which is the first time for me in about 18 months. So just be on the lookout, make sure the house will appraise if they need concessions or if they want to drop the rate. I personally am going to start showing everyone loan summaries as a baseline without concessions going forward, because it's creating a huge problem. Yes. It's just this, I mean, we're all learning right now. The strategy that I used the past 18 months was concessions to get people to afford this market. I mean, unfortunately, they're going away quickly. So I'm just trying to get people ready.
And Kristin, I kind of feel like, I don't know what everybody else's thoughts on this. And I kept telling Kristin, we're coming in asking for 6% concessions. And now we got a 2406 in there as well, asking for 3% in commissions. So where before the seller didn't see that in the offer because it was already built in, now off the top, they're asking for 8% concessions, which is what we've always done anyway, but it's in their face now and they're looking at numbers now, and now it hurts.
Yes.
Whereas before, the commissions, which now we call compensations, but the commissions were just part of it. Now it's not just part of it anymore.
No.
And it hurts them.
Like people are just like, no, just straight up no. They would rather reduce the price. I swear that's the consensus that I'm hearing out there right now. It's crazy to me. But and also just like on the same note, the sooner all parties get involved, like the deals that I'm doing right now, listing agents are calling me now more than ever. I mean, you guys just got through this market. How many contracts did you have bust? How many houses never closed? How many people shopped for 6-2 a year and never closed a loan? People are beat up after this market. They want to feel secure that this house is actually going to close. So almost every single offer that I have. And then if I'm not getting a call, I'm trying to call them to show them that these people actually want the house, that we've talked about payments. I mean, I'm going above and beyond to make these people feel secure right now. Just because I have lost a lot of deals this last couple of years, I want people to feel like they're not going to lose this one. Let's not worry about all the rest of them. Okay, so that's kind of the strategies that I'm seeing as far as the concessions go. I would not ask for more than 2%, to be completely honest. And if you are going to, be prepared to increase the price, because a lot of these sellers have hit their bottom lines. I'm talking to the listing agents and they're awesome, talking to me with such truth. You know, they're just like, hey, my clients refinanced in 21. Hey, my clients bought in 2020. Hey, whatever the situation is, we are not going to pay to sell. So just trying to be very respectful of where everyone's bottom line is. I'm trying to work within those guidelines. So that's also why I talk to listing agents a little bit more than most people, because I want to know if what I'm asking for is actually going to happen. So not going to leave you guys with bad news, because the rates are going to come down quite a bit. But this is kind of what I was just talking about. But let me go back to this one. I don't know if you guys have read this. but we've got 3 rate cuts coming. This one has already been priced in. A lot of people think that on the 18th tomorrow, we're just going to drop. No, it's already been priced in. So that part's already done, but they are saying the next 2 meetings, 25 basis points. Everyone is saying we're going to end up at 4.75, 4.5 by the end of 2024. I really think it's going to be 5%. They lie every time. So, but still, that's a huge mountain we've just overcome. So it's going in the right direction. It's taking less strategy to make this an affordable market. So I'm extremely excited because they're saying 3 rate cuts this year and then 4 next year. That puts us back in a stable market, in my opinion. Of course, the election could change everything, but I'm kind of leaving it open for questions now for you guys, because I know it's crazy out there for each one of you. I want you guys to be able to ask me any questions to help you get through this market.
Do you mind going over any like creative lending options that you're offering right now?
Thank you. There, perfect.
Hello. Creative financing, girl. How creative you need to go.
How about let's talk about list and lock.
There you
Okay.
go.
The list and lock is pretty cool because essentially the seller only has to pay $1,000 to essentially offer what the builders are offering, right? You can advertise it. You can get them to a 3.99 interest rate. You talk to me with how much that costs. Essentially, that cost is something that isn't paid until, we go under contract. They pay $1,000 to secure that. And it's basically like buying a line of credit for that rate. Does that make sense? So you can offer a rate that's not, because you're buying it ahead of time. Now, the list and lock was super powerful when the rates were super high. Now, if you're wanting to offer 3.99 or 2.99 just to knock people's socks off, I think it would still be very powerful. So you're basically paying to offer a rate to anyone who chooses to buy the house and use your lender.
So you're paying $1,000 to lock it. And then what's the other cost? Does the seller have the concession cost to bring that rate down on top of that?
Yes. But it's a lot less expensive now for a lot more impact. So where we used to see 5.99 and 4.99 with these builders, I kind of use builders as my point of reference, right? What am I seeing with the builders? Because that's what's going to get a resale to move. So it's almost exactly like the way that the builders incentives work, because you know that the builders are offering way more than the concessions allowed. The way they're doing that is by getting a line of credit and not paying for it in closing. So we're essentially doing the same thing, but we're adding it to the concession box once you go under contract. So the concessions are already built into there. So if there's any further negotiations other than those, then of course those concessions can be touched and the rate can vary at that point. Okay. Does that make sense, Paris?
Yeah. DR Horton and Lanier right now today are offering 4.25% if you purchase by the end of the month, and they're offering 2% in concessions and covering the owner's title policy.
Yes. So, I mean, that part is, I always cover 1% or title, whatever it is, but if it's not a new build, you don't have to cover title. So for me, I always like to just cover 100 or like 1 point of either closing costs, or because that's my contribution is 1 point. So if the seller is willing to give 2 points, then that's 3 points. We can now offer on an FHA 3.99. That's powerful now. We've got to show people something better than the new builds, because everyone's going new build right now.
Well, because they're offering such a beautiful package.
I know. Exactly. And the way that it works, we have to think about that with resale. At least that's kind of what I've been doing. If we're not offering something, especially if your house is right next to a new build community and you're selling it, you kind of get a little screwed just because you're constantly competing with the new builds. So it is
So on a list and lock, we would let you know they're willing to give 2% in concessions. What can you do it at? And then we get you in touch with the seller and y'all start working on the process.
Ma'am. And then you can send out flyers just like any other builder. We're offering 2% rate buy down and 1% closing cost help. Flex cash, whatever you want to call it, whatever, brand you want to use behind it. It's pretty powerful because it's just like offering something that these builders are offering. But we also have to make sure that the sellers are truly okay with that as well. Because the thing I'm seeing with the list and locks is that they'll have the list and lock, they'll have the concessions in place, but then they come in with some lowball offer. So then the concessions and the buy down really are not even a thing anymore because you just lowballed the heck out of the seller. You don't get both. You only get one.
Kristin, that is gold. That is solid gold.
I know. It's really cool. I mean, I've used it with my Dallas team and people just because I kind of use them as my little test subjects because there's a lot of new build communities there. But it's been working wonderfully because they had tons of products that weren't, or properties that weren't moving. And so we started doing this list and lock. The $1,000 was a lot to ask for just because it's a lower income community, but they did do it and they ended up selling their houses a lot quicker. So it worked out. It's just that initial telling them they had to pay me $1,000 when they did not have it truly yet.
Right.
So, but
I have a couple of properties that we might chat.
yes,
We might
yeah.
chat.
I mean, why not try it? If we fail at it, then we'll try something else.
Especially while things are picking up,
I know.
because we're seeing a lot more activity. So I feel like if we came in right now with the increase in activity, I feel like it might be a really good time to utilize that
Yeah.
for sellers.
Yeah. I mean, like, talk to your sellers, see what they want to do. We can test it on one and see how it works. And then kind of go from there. I mean, and if something doesn't work, then we just do a different avenue. And as the rates fall, our rates will get better and better and more attractive to these people.
Right.
Because if they start to see 3.99, that's just going to be, that's everything.
It's definitely a thing of the past that I wish was now present. But it's offer that we can offer it now. I had a property about a year ago and I was struggling with that. So they had only lived there for like 2 years. It was a new build. And we would have showings and they saw the flyers and the banners of like this super low interest rate. And so of course everybody was like, I get a new house and a lower rate. And so they were immediately turning around. And so it took a bit to get it sold, but it's reassuring knowing that there is something like this out there, because competing with the new builds, like you said, is a beast of its own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's for what you guys do and for me, right? Like the second that I hear new build, I'm like, bye. Because they are offering, I mean, they're offering like $27,000, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9%. That's impossible. That's impossible to compete with. To me, it's just the nature of the beast. If someone needs to go new build because that's their strategy, then no skin off my game. I'm so used to it. It's been 20 years of that, So it's funny what you can get used to in this business.
Kristin, what are some of the common misconceptions that you feel like buyers have around mortgages, and what can we do to educate on that and to change those stances?
People still think a payment on a $500,000 house is $2,500. Like that's my biggest flex right now, or like, I guess my biggest problem is that realigning people's mentality with what they can actually afford. I asked 2 questions: payment, cash to close, getting people in alignment with what reality is without pushing them away from buying a home, right? Because how many times do I get a client that's already been shopping in the $500,000 range, and then I come in and tell them they can $300,000, and they see a $300,000 house? That is causing, I would say, 1 out of 2 people to stop shopping altogether. It's when they're being shown houses they thought they could afford just to be shown that they cannot afford it.
Right.
Just really the affordability, it's on every single person's mind. I cannot tell you how every single client, even the ones that make a ton of money, even the multi-million-dollar ones, are struggling with these payments that I'm showing them. Because taxes are higher. Insurance, do you know the average insurance I have to use on a house is $350, $220 to $230. That's in Austin. Houston, $500. Dallas, parts of it is uninsurable. And these are things I'm having to look at on everything, is how much this insurance is going to cost. What hail zones are now deemed really bad. So, I mean, I have a house in Dallas, $267, $800 a month in insurance. Like
my insurance just came back $13,000 a year.
No. See that right there, Stephanie? That defeat, that look, that is overwhelming to these people. It's unaffordable. So trying to work with like a realtor that knows where those areas are, making sure that we have an insurance agent that we can rapidly get a quote. you know, so that we can make sure that these people are safe. Because, I mean, Stephanie, you've worked with me long enough. I'm so adamant about people being happy.
Right.
Like, and if I feel like I did anything to make them suffer, like I kill myself over it.
Right.
Affordability and believing that the election or when the rates come down, I always try to flip it to this is a very personal decision. When is the best time to buy a home is only something you can answer, no matter what the market is.
Right.
You know, so just really, I've actually studied more psychology in this market than I have real estate or mortgages. So, because it's fear, Stephanie. If we can break down their fear, it's the fear of everything. It's the fear of the news. It's the fear of what people's parents are telling them to do. It's just very, very fearful. So if we can help at all ease that pain, and unfortunately, you know what that means, texting all night. I mean, my clients are texting me 24/7, 100% of the time because they feel scared. And as much as I don't love answering the phone all hours of the night, I very much love making them not feel scared. So just doing extra in this market. Now, when this flips around, I would love to go back to regular communication.
Actual business hours.
That's Paris. That's Paris right now.
All hours of the day and night. Same. Girl, I was slinging loan summaries last night at midnight. Because this guy works all day.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's a lot of weird things happening right now. And we have to be a little weird with them. And Paris, as far as like creative financing goes, like if you want to find a niche and excel, you find those people, because there's not many lenders that know what the heck they're doing. Bridge loans, bank statement loans, cash flow loans, Airbnb loans, all of those things are something that are very possible. Also, investors that don't like to claim what they're making, like self-employed people. Half of them like to not pay taxes. So there's a program for that, right? You can find that niche of investors, your business will blow up, because a lot of people don't think like that outside the box.
Right.
But all of those programs are available. I mean, there's not a program other than just a commercial building, and then you'd want to go to a commercial lender. But other than that, the sky's the limit as far as what people say they need.
Okay, so Kristin, I had a client that you were working with on credit repair.
Okay.
Do you have any tips? Do you have any tips for clients that need credit repair?
Yes. So credit repair is, I've been doing it for like 17 years. First and foremost, people call me because they want me to repair it. You've got to make sure the bleeding has stopped. That's the first and foremost. Have all the collections hit your account? Has all the damage been done? Are we now repairing, or are we still falling? Because I can't create a simulation unless the bleeding is done. So if they say, yes, all the collections are done, blah, 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 my credit's a 400 credit score, right? First and foremost, medical collections, pay those off. They legally have to remove them from your credit. They have to within like 60 to 90 days. So medical collections, try to negotiate collections off of your credit report. If you settle, it's not going to change your credit, so you might as well not pay that. If utilization is the big thing, pay down your credit cards to 30% if possible. That's going to be a huge bump. And if you are recovering from having bad credit, secured credit card. It's basically like you pay them $500 and you get a secured credit card. That is going to affect your credit exponentially more than a traditional credit card. And then if you have a family member that has a credit, right? Like if I were in a situation where I had a 400 credit score, the first thing I would do would be call my mom or dad and be like, add an authorized user. I want to piggyback off of your history. That alone will take me probably from a 400 to a 550. I know that's not good enough, but that's how much of an impact an authorized user account has.
Well, and that's a great tip too for those of us with teenagers that are about to turn 18.
Oh, girl, I'm going to get my girl a credit card at like 16. She's never going to touch it, but she'll be generating credit, because sometimes I do help these very young 20-year-olds and they are 800 credit score because their parents had them on a Discover card when they turned 16. So, you know, it does really, really work, especially if you are just young and looking secured credit card, authorized user account. That's the way that I would do it. And then once you get a year of credit under that secured credit card, then you can switch to a Visa, MasterCard, Discover, because at that point you will have already built yourself into the 700s.
Right.
So that's my biggest thing. I mean, like the collection things, I'm going to tell you guys, I've never seen so much resistance in having creditors remove collections that are not medical. I have tried 100 different ways and I've only been successful maybe 1 or 2 times in the last 6 months removing anything other than medical. And if they have any federal debts, you guys, they gotta man those before we can go under. So right now I have a veteran, went through a really messy divorce, owes AOG, which is, you know, child support, 30 grand. And he's desperate and homeless, but until he makes that plan to catch up on that child support and I can qualify him with that, he's screwed. Because yes, he's a veteran, but he also has a federal debt now owed. So, and mind you, I fought all the way to the top with the VA on that one. So just make sure that these clients are actually ready to buy a house.
What about student loans?
Student loans are great. I don't have to count them if they're deferred past 2 years. We have a great medical program for doctors. It goes up to 100%, and we don't have to count any student loans. If they have a payment plan, I can utilize that to offset the debt, because if I don't have that, I have to use like 0.5% of whatever that payment is that's showing on the credit report. Anything else, ladies?
My mind is reeling for
I know.
for my doctor clients. Do you remember, Kristin? I'm like, hey, they have a kid medical school too.
Oh, I'm closing one in Tennessee with him right now.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I tried to give him to someone
that.
else. He's like, I don't trust anyone but you. And I was like,
Right.
Tennessee, here I go.
No, guys, you have a good lender and you are buying a house in the worst housing market in history. Those clients are amazing.
You know what? You know what I got him? 75.25, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On an Airbnb. I was so
That's
sorry.
so cool. I love it.
I have another question. For us that used you back in that wild, crazy market, not the 3% market, but the high market, and they've been with you more than 6 months. Would this be time to be talking to them about it's time to refi your loan with Kristin?
Yes. Well, okay. So here's kind of what I've been doing. So I sent out an email about 2 weeks ago that was called a strike rate video, basically just saying, hey, I promised you guys I was going to do this thing called watch it and the rates fall and make sure that we refinance you at a perfect time. I've already got 50 people committed to locking in the second that rates get to a certain point. And at that point, I'm not locking them in. I'm probably going to tell them to wait. I'm not going to lie. I don't believe in refinancing a bunch, especially if you've got 3 rate cuts coming right now, and then you've got 4 coming next year. If someone waits 6 months to a year, they could save over 1.5%. That's huge. I want to make this impactful. So I'm touching base with those clients now as often as humanly possible, but it's definitely start time to say, pay attention, start watching, and reach out to the person who said she was going to do it for free.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Bridge loans.
Yes.
Can we talk about bridge loans?
Yes.
Educate me, because that's something that I've not done.
Bridge loans in Texas are hard.
Okay.
Bridge loans, if they do not have another house, you cannot do them in Texas. You got to do some other kind of creative financing. You have to have a house because of the A6, like it's in our constitution. It's so annoying. It makes it very difficult, but the bridge loans, you have to have at least another house, another investment, a primary, something.
Okay.
And if you do a bridge loan, you're not technically supposed to do construction or live in the property. I mean, I'm pretty sure about tons of them are living in the properties. I just am like, don't tell me. I don't want to know what the heck it is you're doing. You need a bridge loan. So, but like, are you talking about a bridge loan in the sense of if they have a departing residence and they need the money?
Yeah, like, so they have a lake house. They have their primary residence that is listed for sale, and they're interested in moving to another property.
But they need
Is
the
that
money.
something that because they own an investment property, is that something that would be possible?
Yes. Now, do they have a property they're wanting to sell to get money out of?
Yes, it's listed.
Okay. So that is a bridge loans. The crazier they are, the more fees there are, right? Like you've got to think backwards. So when I'm talking to someone about a bridge loan, I'm like, there's a 2% fee. The interest rates are high. You have a year to basically pay it back, and then you can pay to extend that.
Okay.
There's a lot better way to go about doing that if you have a house to sell. I mean, you could try something like Homeward, which has like a 2.4% fee, and then they charge rent and stuff. But Homeward is definitely the best way that I've seen people leave a house. Bridge loans, I can do them, yes, but if there's another option, I would take that other options before I do a bridge loan. Because if you
Okay.
don't pay that bridge loan back, you are so screwed. I mean, the things I've seen people do, the amount of bridge loans I've paid off with people in really bad situations, they're available for financially responsible human beings. If they're not, I would do the Homeward way. Because I've worked with Homeward a ton in this market and they are phenomenal.
Okay.
Because it's literally a 2.4% fee. And then as long as the house takes to sell, is they get charged a monthly rental amount.
Okay.
And then you have a drop schedule. So every so often you have to drop the purchase price of the house. So, I mean, most people, it does get a little scary. I did get one go into 4 months and that was a little freaky. But if he would have done just a bridge loan, he would never have sold his house for that amount. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he would have owed more than what he could pay back. So I'm just always looking at the whole client, making sure that this is really something sound. I've done bridge loans a ton, but I look for very specific kinds of people to do those just to make sure they don't get into trouble.
Understand.
Yes, but they are available. Just make sure they have another house.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the Homeward? Sorry, I'm not very familiar with it.
Homeward is a company that you'll have two options. They can either buy your house, like the house that you're selling, cash outright, or they can basically take over title and then you have 6 months to sell it. Everyone takes that option. Every single person takes that option because it's the better option. Well, unless your house sits. It's 6% if they buy it outright. It's 2.4 with the anticipation that it'll sell within a month or two doing it this way.
Okay.
However, title is transfer. It's good with VA clients. If you have eligibility issues, I like it just because most of the houses do sell within 2 months because they do have such a good drop down schedule. And of course, I go over that with the client, what that means for their bottom line.
Hey, Kristen, I have a house here in Bertram that I'm trying to get sold. It's been on the market for, say 2 months now, 3 months. We've lowered the price. What would be the best option to do? They're wanting to sell and move out of state.
Okay.
We've actually got the house lowered to where they don't really want to go any lower.
Have you hit their bottom line as far as like what they owe on the house?
Yeah, the house is actually, they've took out they didn't refinance it. They just did like a home equity type loan.
They have a second
so
loan.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty much right. It's lower. I know it is lower, but they don't want to go any lower than what we have the house priced at right now. So
What
we're
is
at
your house price?
$499.
You're at how much?
$499. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a metal 60 by geez, here it is. It's got an above ground pool. It's got city water. Everything in the house has been completely redone. I mean, it's like they went in, did new roof, new windows, everything. And it's on 2.88 acres. It's got 2 water taps and it has a 35 by 40 shop with roll up that is insulated, and it's got central heat and central air in the shop.
Okay.
So the shop could be turned into a barn door.
Okay. Now,
Um,
as far as, do they have, like, could you talk to them about possibly doing a list and lock? Like, see if they have 2 to 3% to offer a lower rate?
Okay, I'll talk to them about that.
Because if they don't want to drop the price any further, then we've got to incentivize people to come look at it, right? And offering a rate right now of, honestly, the 4.25 with the builders, I think is going to get more activity for you.
Right. Mhm.
So talk to them about it, see if they're open to it, and then email me what they're open to, because we can build stuff around, because I'm going to give 1% as well. So
Okay.
sometimes if they can even give like 10 grand, whatever it is, usually I can try to make up the difference in some way to make it beneficial.
Okay.
And then we can try that route. Maybe just get someone into the house by that flyer. And what you
Yeah, I
guys,
mean,
it's fine.
we're getting people to come in. I mean, I've had showings and stuff. And everybody is like, well, it's a good price. It's a great price. But I think the problem is the house. It is she did it all like a Southwestern type. So it's got cedar all in the house, in kitchen, dining room, living room. So it's all pretty dark, which I mean, it's just on to sheetrock. So that could be taken off and it could be painted at any point in time. We're trying not to go that route because they like it, you know, so we're trying not to go that route, but I just kind of figure out what yeah, I mean, I love the house. I wish I could move in the house. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is, all the appliances are going with it. They're leaving all the TVs that are attached to the wall. So, I mean, they've done a lot of work on it. So we're just trying to see what we can get.
Have you had people like be interested enough to make an offer yet? And did you know why they didn't end up going through an offer?
We've had 2 that said that they wanted to put in an offer. One of them, would have been a contingent, and which was, they were fine with that. But the guy has not ever sent it over. The agent did not. Apparently, I found out he was the one that was wanting to buy the house. But he has to do some work to his other house before he does anything. So we're kind of still in a limbo there. We did have another agent out of Horseshoe Bay wanted to put one in, and her buyers just like, they just stopped calling her. So yeah, she said they ghosted me.
Oh, there's been so much of that in this market, so much of that. I just, I always ask that question because I'm like, was it a payment sensitivity? Is the house actually valued worth more than $499? So the taxes are exponentially higher than what they should be?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to see, do you know what the county, because that area specifically, I have a house over there too that we just closed on, and it was valued at 100,000 more with the county. So I had to use that tax rate, which was causing massive issues with people saying yes to the dress.
Let me see what I can tell you, because I think it's got a new one. So basically so it's 2 different ones, and it says the assessed value on the one that has the house on it. I think I'm trying to look at both of them. Yeah. Okay, so the assessed value on the one with the house, and it's is 142, and then the other lot is 79,000. That's their assessed value.
Okay, well, if that's what the county's reporting, then they're having to use it almost like a new construction because the homestead cap on that bad boy is huge.
Yeah, homestead cap is at 82.
Yeah, I mean, because like if I were to see those taxes, I would get the tax rate and do it like a new construction, just times the purchase price, because if there's that big of a discrepancy, that's what they're having to do. Is the tax rate high there, or is it pretty
Tax
good?
rate here is on this one is going to be 1.33.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, we got to get you the rate, because if we get the rate plus the good taxes, I think maybe someone might say yes.
Okay.
So just start talking to them. How much are you willing to give? I would say start with 15. Maybe we'll work our way into 10.
Okay.
Just because if they've lowered the price so many times, they're going to feel a little sensitive about this as well.
Okay.
So just finding where they're comfortable, and then we can see what we can create, and just let me know, and then I'll get you all set up, and just make sure they do know that there is that you do have to pay the $1,000. Just everyone, I like to just tell that, make sure.
Okay.
The worst things possible, I like to tell people just right away.
Right.
It's better to
Rip
be
the
honest.
Band-Aid off.
Yes. All right, ladies, you guys got anything else? Tammy, you just look so damn beautiful. Just like, my goodness.
If I could just keep an internet connection, it'd be amazing. I mean, this is only 2024.
I mean, I get to see you on and off, and it's just great.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Kristin. We appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. If you guys want me to come on here every once in a while, you just let me know. Tag me in.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Thank you, Kristin.
Bye.
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 Hey guys, great info this week. Thank y'all for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Realtor Revolution, that Facebook group, you can invite anybody into that group that you want that are agents, or if they're getting their license, and start inviting them to the Power Hour call on Mondays and this call as well, because the whole goal is that they actually will start joining and being a part of, like they might want to join you on the team per se.
Right.
Okay.
So, and guys, next week we have Chris Coffey is going to be our guest speaker. He's a veteran. He is a home inspector extraordinaire. I've used him. Paris has used him. I think Vicky has used him too. He's great. And one of the things that I really, really love about him is he's so good with education. So good with education. So he's going to be available to give us some information and let us grill him with all of the questions.
Sounds good. Anybody else have any other questions?
Nope. Invite everybody in. Good job, Paris. Thank y'all very much. And I guess we'll see everybody back here next week, same time.